Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. Before I get this lesson started, this expose, it's going to be a conglomeration of videos just showing the wickedness of Esau, Edom, the harsh judgment that is about to come because we are approaching Yahweh Shaphat, which is Armageddon, the war of heaven, which is Yahweh judging the wicked, which he has reserved for the day of judgment, and the 2/3 of our people who refuse to repent and have made a covenant with death, which is a covenant with the doctrines of the left-handed philosophies, the left-handed satanic philosophies of Esau, Edom, in a form of Freemasonry to have a position in the earth, through sports, music, Hollywood, political, all that kind of crap. But before I do that, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone of whom I learned from, and a shalom to the hope elect brothers, taking this truth to the four corners of the earth, bidding the elect spirits to the marriage supper of the Lamb, who is Yahweh Shai. This is your brother Adah. Esau is so wicked that he does things in code right in front of your face, and the reason why they are able to do this is it proves that they are the wicked. Okay, and we're going to go into that. This is a revelation of the method. This is an occultic, left-handed mockery in your face that shows you. Okay, they're saying that this is all about milk, right? But this is them being coded, talking about the feast of blood, which is humans and child sacrifice, which is the drinking of blood, the adrenochrome, that is mentioned in the Wisdom of Solomon. It's mentioned in the Wisdom of Solomon. We're gonna come back to Psalms too. Wisdom of Solomon. Hold on. Feast of blood. I think it's 12. Feast. These are the feast of blood, and these are these ancient Canaanite practices, man. The Chaldeans. Okay, this is what's required of them on the left-hand side in order to operate in the level of power that they do operate in, and they've perfected all this shit, and they got an entire system set up to this. So you got Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verse 3, right? For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of thy holy land, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices, and also those merciless murderers of children and devourers of man's flesh, and the feast of blood, with their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crew, and the parents that killed with their own hands souls destitute for help. So you see that there's an entire religious aspect, a system to this, okay? And when you deal with the wicked, what does it say? Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? This goes into their identity theft of the true Hebrew Israelites. This goes into the iconoclasm and the whitewashing of every good and hero type man in the past, as making them all look like so-called white men when they're actually black and brown men, Hebrew Israelites. And the definition of who the wicked actually is in Scripture is very easy. It's found in Malachi. I have hated Esau. Malachi 1, 3, and 4. I've hated Esau. It's very easy. Once you let the Scriptures identify the Scriptures. Fuck what Western Renaissance Christianity says. Fuck what Western philosophical media says. Oh, there's good and bad in everyone. That's not what the Scriptures say. The Scriptures don't say that. The Scriptures specifically points to Edom as the wicked. So that eliminates that doctrine that there's good and bad in every race. Because the reason why they say that, the way they say that, is to hide and cover up over the true identity of the so-called white man, which is the Edomites. Malachi 1 through 3. And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Verse 4, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. This is talking about when Rome fell the first time, right? 1,000 years after 70 AD. They went quiet for a while, and then they came back. And they left you had Britain, Great Britain, all those are all the Edomites, and then the little horn killed off or fought, the Spanish Inquisition, the Spanish War, the French and Indian War, and then the War of Independence against the British. That's the three horns that were plucked off by the little horn, and the little horn was the group of Edomites that established America. Okay, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, the people against whom Yahweh hath indignation forever. Now also, let's go to find out with Amalek. Amalek being the head tribe, the Lord will have war. Let me see. Will have war. This goes into the banner. Have war with Amalek from generation. Amalek from generation. Amalek from generation. We got to get all these prophecies from generation. Look, this is look at this. For he said, because Yahweh has sworn that Yahweh will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Amalek is the grandson of Esau, and Esau becomes Edom, and Edom is the so-called white man. And within that rulership, you have the head tribe Amalek, and that is your so-called Ish people today, the ones that are claiming to be us, which goes into the controversy of Zion. You got to see how deep all these prophecies go, right? Now let's go into Psalms. Is it Psalm 73? Right? We just saw who the wicked are, right? We just saw the wicked is Edom with the head tribe of Amalek, and now we're going to go into Psalms, the Psalm of Asaph, right? Truly God is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. Why? For I was envious of the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. That is not random. This is specific. This is talking about Edom. This is a prophecy. Verse 4, for there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. And as a result, verse 6, therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covereth them as a garment. What's the interpretation? How do we line up a specific race to this? This is not scattered. This is not random. This is not just picking out random men in different parts of the world. You're going to pick a couple of people over in South America. You're going to pick a couple of people over in Africa. You're going to pick a couple of people in China and say that's what this is talking about. No, you're going to go to Chicago. You're going to go to LA, and you're going to try to put this on the Crips or the Bloods. No, dude. No, we're going to show you who this is talking about. Therefore, pride compasseth them about as a chain. Violence covereth them as a garment. Verse 7, their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than heart could wish. Now that goes into their wealth. This goes into their resources. Do the Crips have wealth? Fuck no. Do the Bloods? Do the fucking even the cartels? Do they have more than heart could wish for? No. There's only one race that fulfills all of this, who has all the resources right now, and you know who it is. Verse 8, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. This is also an identifier. This group of people would have the ability to oppress other people. And when you bring up their oppression, they speak corruptly concerning it. This is identifying a specific race. Do the cartels oppress? They do some bad shit, you guys, but they're only doing what they're doing in Mexico amongst their own people. Same thing with Chicago. Those YNs, what they do is horrible, but they only do it to themselves. They're not affecting the banking system. They're not affecting the housing market. They're not able to make markets rise and fall. They don't even fucking write laws that other people have to listen to. They don't own any prisons. They don't have a military, and they don't have a police force, you guys. This is going into a specific race of people. Verse 9, they set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth. Therefore his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out unto them. And they say, how doth God know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. Now look at this. Remember how they're proud? Look at this, you guys. And they're not in trouble like other men. Look at this, and look what they're doing. They are showing you. Let's go back to this. Hold on. Let's go back to the Feast of Blood. Go back to the Feast of Blood. They are boasting in their network of human sacrifice and human trafficking, because human trafficking is not about sex. That's what you see on the surface, because that's the most understandable aspect of it. No, human trafficking is about human sacrifice. Is there sex involved? You better fucking believe it. But this is about blood. This is about the piercing and the cutting of the skin. This is about the removing of the soul from the body. This is about offering up human beings to the left-hand powers and drinking the blood, drinking the adrenochrome, and yeah, raping them in the process. But you got to understand verses 3, right, down to 6. That is this wisdom of Solomon. Look, man. Wisdom of Solomon 12, verses 3 down to 6 shows you a peek into this practice. And America and Europe, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man with Amalek at the top, okay, as the head tribe, they got this thing sewed down because the earth is in their power right now. So let's read verse 3 to 6 again. This is Wisdom of Solomon 12, verses 3 down to 6. For it was thy will to destroy by the hand of our fathers both those old inhabitants of thy holy land, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices, and also the merciless murderers of children, and devourers of man's flesh, and the feasts of blood, with their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crew, and the parents that killed with their own hands souls destitute for help. Look at this.
All of the baby girls in the room.
Baby girls. One of the code words in the Pizzagate pizza is, I believe it's talking about children and female girls. So look. So this is an acting. This is a movie. But they're showing you something. That I guess that guy's supposed to be a son or something in the movie, but in real life, is he a son? No, he's an actor, right? And he's drinking milk. So they're giving you two. They're giving you two meanings right here. Yeah, he's acting out in a movie, but they're showing you what they really do. People think, okay, she's just advertising milk because we drink milk, right? Yet no, it has another meaning. This is symbolic of human trafficking. Watch, you guys. Because that's why they're clapping. No one fucking claps because someone's drinking milk and you're fucking advertising milk. So the cow owners can sell more milk to people in America. That's not what this is about. It's got another meaning to it.
Good girl.
So the monarch butterfly is symbolic of MK Ultra mind control. It's another left-handed occultic practice that they do to these girls, that they do to the guys too, where it involves left-handed spirits, demons, that get put into these people ceremonially, so that when they're on set, so that when they're singing, so that when they're recording, so that anytime they're in front of the television, their bodies are being used by spirits to broadcast and portray an image that goes along with the narrative of what the rulers of the earth are doing who are the Edomites, and they control the airwaves. They are the prince of the power of the air. So all of their ministers, all of their little slaves, all of their little soldiers gotta operate just like the men on the right hand side. You can't teach this truth unless you got the breath. You have to have the breath mentioned in Ezekiel 37. You have to have the breath mentioned in Revelations 11, and you have to have the breath that we see in Genesis that made Adam a living soul. You have to have the breath, and you have to be lined up with the elders and the apostles of the great millstone to even be able to teach this truth. You can't just do it because you want to. You have to know the name of Yahweh, and you have to know the name of Yahweh Shai, and you got to be sincere in order for this wisdom, knowledge, understanding to flow through you so that you can teach it without guile. It's the same on the left-hand side, bro. Just like there's requirements on the right-hand side, there are requirements for functionality on the left-hand side.
That's aggravating.
I'm ahead of you there.
You think this boy Moss has got any notion of the sorts of sons of bitches that are hunting him?
I don't know, he ought to. He's seen the same things I've seen, and it certainly made an impression on me.
Keep watching. There it is. This was huge in the 80s. This was huge in the 80s. Now we just read that this is a real thing, right? It's in Wisdom of Solomon, and the wicked are the ones who can control this because they have the ability to control it because they're not going to investigate themselves. Who owns all the prisons in America? The so-called white man. Who writes all the laws in America? The so-called white man. Who's got all the biggest police and military forces on the planet? The so-called white man. Do you see where this is going? Who controls all the surveillance? The so-called white man. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked, and he covers the faces of the judges. And so if he's wicked and he's in control, he's not going to be in trouble as other men because he's not going to investigate himself. Now you see where this is going. These motherfuckers were bragging, bro. I remember this. I'm 54 years old. I remember when they were putting children's faces on milk cartons. It was twofold. It was them bragging about what they were doing, and they were selling these fucking kids. Those kids were being advertised. That's an advertisement. Also, he could be missing. It's both. And then so they're going, and so you go back. You go back to the phone number. Look, if you can identify this child or any other missing child, report any information. You may have to. The Laura Bradbury Organization for Stranger Abducted Children Hotline. So right, provided as a public service by your local dairy. What the fuck? Okay, so look, Laura Bradbury, date missing. That gives you the date from Joshua Tree National Monument, California. Date of birth gives you the date of birth. White female, eyes blue, hair blonde. So you got the baby's specs, right? You can see how old the baby is. You call that fucking phone number, and if you're in the know, all you got to do is probably say some type of password, some type of code word, and then they would switch you to another line. I'm just guessing, and then fucking you could buy that kid, bro. They got shit like this all over the internet, all over fucking Instagram. It was big, bro. They were doing this shit, and they were doing it out in the open. So people were like, oh, if I see this person, you were never going to see that kid. And then if you thought you saw the kid, you could call in, and they were going to, oh, yeah, this is the emergency hotline. Oh, I think I just saw that baby over here at the mall the other day. Well, where were they at? And they would take your information, acting like you did something, nothing would happen. That's not what it was about. It was they were doing two things. They were bragging about what they were doing, and they were also showing you, hey, you can buy this kid. Go into the fucking, look, got milk. I remember that campaign. I have a t-shirt. Glad I finally awake, praying for some more people to realize how much we've been lied to. Now, and what's crazy is you see all these Edomites, you see all these white people looking at what their people do, and this is the best they can talk about it. This also shows you how void of prophetic understanding and judgment and balance that this race of people is, because when they see the wickedness of their own race, they don't have any precepts, they don't have any concept of judgment. They just say things like, oh, now I know. What? You never see any so-called white person say that they deserve the punishment that is written in prophecy about them. That also tells you that this entire group of people is wicked. Even the ones that are in disagreement, their disagreement is wicked because it doesn't line up with prophecy. And prophecy tells you the harsh judgment that's about to come. But you got to see the fruits of these people. Look at this. The craziest part is nothing is hidden. It's all in front of our faces. Okay, wow. What else? No. Do you think you guys should be judged? I have no idea. Explain this like I'm 5 to me, and then somebody will explain it. Milk is also adrenochrome code. And then they mocked us with the missing kids. People say those kids were not missing, but kids they were marketing or had taken sold, or they were mocking us about children. Nicole Kidman's dad has child hunting parties, and that's true. He's like the head of some satanic church. That's true, or something like that. Look into him, and you'll get a better idea of what she is all about. They hunt children just for fun, and this is what I just did a lesson on this. They sexually abuse children and program them through monarch trauma-based mind control. The child is traumatized on purpose. The monarch butterfly is a symbol for monarch programming. All of this is true. So she just said, this chick just said all this stuff that white people do. Edomites do this shit, yet there's no mention of the fact that they deserve judgment. You see how different these people are when they see what their own people do? But let a so-called black man stab a white woman. It's the end of the fucking world. He must be buried underneath the prison for 5,000 million years. He must be tortured and punished. Yet, when they see what their people do globally, this is all they can say. This is why they cannot. They're the base man, you guys. They don't have the capacity to righteously judge themselves. All they can do is fucking judge you. So now I'm gonna fast forward to now. We're gonna stop from here and we're just gonna jump. Look, we're gonna go into how everything's falling apart now with this country, and how these same people are talking about how their country's falling apart and the judgment that's coming, but none of them understand prophecy.
So Trump just froze the Civil Rights Division of the United States government. Yes, he froze it. They are removing almost all staff and have frozen all new litigation almost completely for the department.
But why did Trump do that? Because we know Jacob's trouble is coming. See, look, Jeremiah 30, man. We understand. We understand that Jacob's trouble is coming. Let's start from 3. Verse 3, Jeremiah 30, verse 3. For lo, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will bring again the captivity of my people, Israel, that's the northern kingdom, that's your Latinos and Native Americans, and Judah, that's your southern kingdom, that's your blacks in America, your Haitians, your Jamaicans, etc. Saith Yahweh, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave. See, when we return to the land, both the northern and the southern kingdom are mentioned. The fake people in Israel, the 1948 Balfour Declaration, all it said was Judah. All they say is that they are the Jewish, and that's because of the tribe of Judah. When every time prophecy is mentioning the 12 tribes of Israel, both the northern and southern kingdom are mentioned in the same breath because we were split in two. That's one of the other indicators that you can tell that everything on Esau's media is fake, and it's counterfeit because they never mention the split. And that is a major, major judgment that took place amongst the 12 tribes because of what King Solomon did. And anyone who's familiar with the lineage of the 12 tribes would understand that. Neither do Christians neither bring it up, because Renaissance Western Christianity doesn't teach the Bible the correct way, and the Amalekites don't bring it up because they're the imposters. For lo, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith Yahweh, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. Verse 4. And these are the words that Yahweh spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. Again, both northern and southern kingdom are being mentioned in this future prophecy that is now taking place. For thus saith Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear and not of peace. Verse 6. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. Literally, the worst time in human history is coming to the earth very quickly. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And the he that shall be saved out of it is talking about the elect. And what backs up Jeremiah 30, 3 through 7, is 2nd Ezra 15 and 2nd Ezra 16. And if you go into some of this, they shall not regard. We're just going to read a couple, okay? This is 15 and 16. We're just going to read a few of these really quick. Verses 14. 2nd Ezra 15, verses 14 down. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and sword in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall not stand in power. You see that happening now. Everyone's starting to fucking stand up. There's resistance happening over there. Shit's about to snap. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. That's your martial law. Verse 18, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. This spirit is going to be released, and motherfucking chaos is going to take place. But shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Now let's get out of here. Let's go to the next. Let's go to the next chapter. 16. Let me see. Great. Behold, great death. Let me see. There's a lot in here I want to get. Hold on, let me. There's a lot in 16 too. See, I mean, there's a lot. A great death, the beginning of great death, the beginning of great death. Okay, let's way past it. So look, 2nd Ezra 16, 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death. This is what we're coming into, you guys. The beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? It's going to get bad, but why? Because the Most High is going to become to destroy. He's got to judge. He's got to judge the 2/3 of our people. He's got to try the 1/3 through the fire. Those of us who are hopefully elect, we have to go through this and stay faithful and not take the mark and show our loyalty to Yahweh Shai, and we're willing to do it. And in understanding these prophecies, knowing the order of prophecy, the scripts to the movie, is what is going to be the stability of our time. We know that this is coming. We're not going to be caught off guard. It's going to be uncomfortable, but we also know to rejoice. Why? Because we know this is the beginning. This is the beginning of Yahweh Shai's rulership, and the earth has to go through what's about to happen in order to remove Esau, Edom from power, and he has to come out of power. Look at this.
That means no new cases, no new hearings, no new anything. That means mostly all civil rights cases are now at a complete standstill.
And one more. Sorry, let me get Revelations. The devil shall throw some of you into prison, and that's what's happening. And the devil is talking about the Edomites. Revelations 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, Satan, the actual prince demon spirit, does not own prisons, but the so-called white man does, and he literally has the biggest prison industrial complex on the earth. They just bought they just made a whole bunch of new prisons. There's a proof that they just spent like 25% more in the stock. All the white investors are putting money in the stock in prison because they have insider information that they're going to start locking us up, which lines up with prophecy. So this devil is not talking about a demon spirit. It's talking about a race of people. And this is the problem with Renaissance Western Christianity. They do not know how to interpret the scriptures. And so Esau, Edom is hidden, and they don't blame the white man. They just, it's the devil. No, you got to look at the white race and what they're doing, man. Revelations 2:10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death. Again, Jacob's trouble is not about surviving, but it's about coming forth like pure gold. And I will give thee a crown of life. And Yahushua doesn't lie. This is what's happening. This is what he is saying is this. And the reason why they're complaining is because they don't understand prophecy. People think they have rights. People think that they can vote. People think that they can call their lawyer. It's only going to get more draconian and more violent from here on out. There is no suing. Oh, that's a lawsuit. No. We are in Jacob's trouble. These people are our enemies. America is the land of our captivity, and we are the Hebrew Israelites. And our only salvation is Yahushua. Just like in the days of Moses, when the Most High supernaturally delivered the children of Israel from Egypt, that's what's going to happen with those of us who are elect from America.
No new civil rights cases will be opened by the Civil Rights Division of the United States. This literally is just taking away the civil rights of everybody, because now we have no way to litigate any civil rights cases, and if your civil rights are violated, you have no way to go out against it or litigate against it. Your civil rights have just been taken away.
And the deception of civil rights, you guys, goes against what we learned in 1 Kings chapter 8. 1 Kings 8. The prayer of Solomon tells you what's supposed to happen with the Israelites when you find yourself in another nation under their rulership. Let me see. You're supposed to pray to Yahweh for him to save you, not go to the government. Did the Israelites march in Egypt when they were slaves? No. Moses kept saying, let them go. They wouldn't let them go, and the Most High would hit them with the plague. He would tell them, let them go again, and they wouldn't let them go, and the Most High would hit them with the plague. But the Israelites weren't marching in the streets asking for rights. They were saying, let us go. The problem with civil rights is you're not asking to be let go. You're asking for a seat at the table. Can you just treat us good in your country? No, we got to be let go. So when you go into the prayer of Solomon, hold on. It's a very long chapter. I just want to pull the one. If any man trespass against his neighbor, and an oath be laid unto him that cause him to swear, and the oath come before him, thine altar in hell, then hear thou in heaven, and do and judge thy servants, condemning the wicked to bring his way upon his head, and justify the righteous to give him according to his righteousness. When thy people Israel, look at this, verse 33, be smitten down before the enemy. What's the enemy? Another race, another nation of people. Our so-called black people, Native Americans, and Latinos, are we the same race as the so-called white man? No, we're not. So why are we asking them for fucking help when they're the ones oppressing us? We need to be crying out to Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. And this is the problem with the civil rights movement. This is the problem with Renaissance Western Christianity. It never taught us how to apply the scriptures correctly. Look at what verse 33 says. When thy people Israel be smitten down before the enemy, because they have sinned. We did sin. That's why we're in our situation, because they have sinned against thee, and shall turn again to thee, and confess thy name. What's his name, though? See, we're talking about Jesus. That's not his name. His name is Yahweh Shai. You cannot trust people who have you in slavery to teach you the real name of Yahweh, because that would then get you freed. Oh my God, bro. And confess thy name and pray and make supplication unto thee in this house. We have to face the east where the temple was and cry out to the name of Yahweh B'Hashem Yoshai. Verse 34. Then hear thou in heaven and forgive the sins of thy people Israel and bring them again unto the land which thou gavest unto them. What does 34 mean? That means wherever the Israelites would be, whoever the enemy would be, when we would cry out to Yahweh Shai, the Most High would separate us from our enemy. Do you see how that's a confrontation? Does the so-called white man really want us to leave? No, he wants to control the narrative. He wants to make America great again while he puts you guys in prison. But he doesn't want you to leave and go back to your land. He wants to put you in prison. There's a difference. We want to leave and have a sovereign nation, and we want Yahweh to destroy this place for what they've done to us. Do you see the difference? And because people don't understand the scriptures, they're like this man. Look how bugged out he looks. He's terrified, right? Because he doesn't know the prophecies. And he has absolutely no answer. And everyone's wigging out that they can't believe, oh my God, the so-called system of the so-called white man is failing us, because it was never set up to help you in the first place. It was never set up to help you in the first place.
Trump, he has frozen the entire department.
Want to hear a funny story? So instead of my MAGA mom actually saving the $600,000 that she got,
As ice knocked on anybody's door.
So look at this really good point. He's being. This is a comedy, but look at the point he makes.
Oh yeah, it's really convenient for a country that kidnapped this original workforce to have strong immigration laws now. You know what I'd love to see 200 years ago? Some slaves picking cotton in a field and ICE pull up. Sorry, Master, they found us. Come on, man. You know how much I like working for you for free. As I
See how it's funny, but it's fucking wicked hypocrisy. Funny how convenient there was no ICE 200 years ago, but now there is. Get the fuck out of here, man.
did you guys hear that? Do you hear that? Oh, I don't either. Nothing coming from Pam Bondi's mouth, J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, Steve Miller, about this guy.
Again, the hypocrisy of this race of people, how they don't judge themselves, but it goes back to the prophecies. They are the wicked, that the earth has been given into their hands, and they're not in trouble like other men because they don't judge themselves to the same standard of law they judge us and everybody else to. This is why we need to be saved from them. Not the invisible demon Satan spirit, from the so-called white man. We need to be saved from Esau, Edom.
What we know right now is that. So let me see if I understand this correctly.
And this is Jacob's trouble setting in. How crazy everything's about to start hitting America, because America is being demolished from the inside out. It's going to collapse. It's going to spin out into chaos. 2 Ezra 15 and 16 are going to set in. Those of you who are unfamiliar, you need to read those chapters. And Jeremiah chapter 30 verses just 1 down to 7, 8, or 9. This is what's about to happen. But even the Edomites see what's happening now, and they're going to snap. And this is what's going to cause seditions among men. This is talking about them. I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian. Isaiah 19. This is white people are going to fucking snap on white people.
In a country where people already can't afford the medications that they need, including things like insulin for diabetics, without which they die. Our fearless leader is going to double down on that and impose 100% tariffs on imported medications. in the only country in the developed world that does not have some form of universal health care.
Why is that? Because Esau, Edom is wicked. How come they didn't include that ever? Why? Because, and they're purposely feeding us foods that make us sick, and they purposely removed herbs that heal you, and they invented and developed petroleum-based pharmaceuticals that only treat the fruit of the problem and not the root. Why? Because Esau is wicked. He monetizes crime and he monetizes disease. He just makes money off of it. He does not want there to be a solution, which proves who he is as a race.
Where people can't even afford to go to the doctor. I know, because I'm one of them. You're going to essentially double the cost of imported medications.
This is huge, dude, because so many people are sick. The diet makes you sick. The fucking technology makes you sick. Everything, work makes you sick. Everything is making people sick. And then the medications don't heal you. They just kind of put a Band-Aid, but look what they're doing.
To this country. I'm going to explain this one more time. The exporter does not pay the tariff. A tariff is a tax on imported goods. The company that imports the product pays the tariff. And in this capitalist hellscape that we live in, do you really think that the corporation that imports the medication is going to eat that cost? No, they're going to pass it on to the consumer because they don't care, because they have contracts with the insurance companies. And so the people that are lucky enough to have insurance get to have the drugs, but with a copay. I'm so tired. We're all just so exhausted at this.
So you woke up this morning to find out that there has now been 100% tariff placed on pharmaceuticals that are coming into the United States from outside of the United States, which means you have approximately 5-ish days, because it's the 26th. This goes into effect on October 1st. So you're probably wondering, what kinds of medication should I stock up on? Well, 70% of acetaminophen comes from China. 40 to 50% of all penicillin-based things come from China. They estimate that upwards of 90% of all ibuprofen comes from China. Heparin, one of the most widely used blood thinners, mostly comes from China. Roughly 91% of all hydrocortisone comes from outside of the U.S. And apparently upwards of 80% of all of those pain-relieving creams and gels that you can use all come from outside of the United States. This is on top of the fact that they are estimating that groceries went up between 20 and 30% over the summer. Now we're looking at doing that on top of the fact that we're hearing that insurance premiums are going to go through the roof for the majority of Americans. This is America 2025.
This is not a political talking point. This is actually about to happen for millions of Americans across the country.
Let's just get 2 precepts. I'm going to let this guy finish speaking, but you guys need to see, those of you who don't know, you need to see who the so-called white man truly is. They are the Edomites of the Bible, and the Most High hates them, and they are the wicked, and they are in control of the world right now, and all the problems happening on the planet Earth that are globally impacting everyone are specifically because of this one race of people only. We're going to get, we would have healed Babylon, and Babylon's talking about America. We would have healed Babylon, and it's not going to happen. Verses 20, Jeremiah 51:9. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go, everyone, into his own country. People are literally beginning to do that now. People are moving out of America. For her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even into the skies. And then the cruel Isaiah 19, I believe. Isaiah 19. Let's find it. The burden of Egypt. Yep, let's find it though. Verse 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother. This is about to start happening. And everyone against his neighbor, and city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to their idols. That's your Christianity, that's your white Jesus, that's your Catholicism, all that bullshit, and to the charmers, and it goes even your witchcraft, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord. Now, Trump is becoming the face of this, but behind Trump, you have Amalek and all the banking families who have made the decision to begin ramping up everything because they're trying to stop prophecy and get their new world order off the ground. So that's what this is going into. You see verse 4 happening right now. And the Egyptian is talking about the American people. It's talking about the West and how the West affects the earth, and everyone's pulling away from America now. Isaiah 19:4, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord. This is not talking about ancient Egypt, you guys. This is not talking about Egypt over in Africa right now. This is talking about America right now today. America is Egypt. America is Mystery Babylon. America is all of the past horrible rulerships all conglomerated into one right now in the present time. Okay? Isaiah 19:4, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith Yahweh, the Lord Yahweh of hosts. Now listen to this guy.
They're going to get a letter in the mail from their health insurance plan stating that their monthly premiums are going to go up by hundreds of dollars per month per person. And it'll be because Republicans, having just voted to kick 10 million people off of health care 2 months ago, are allowing the Affordable Care Act subsidies that made premiums cheaper to expire. American families all across the country will have an impossible choice to make. They don't have an extra couple $100. They really don't have that money. Tens of millions of Americans are going to be forced back into the period before the Affordable Care Act, where they'd look at their health care premiums and say, I just can't do it. I can't make my rent or my mortgage, pay my utilities, pay my grocery bills, pay for gas, pay for kids' tuition, pay for my parents, and pay for health care. A lot of you remember that time. And what's going to happen this fall is not a political challenge for Republicans. It is a real challenge for people across the country. Democrats are ready to work with anyone to restore health care.
And this is all bullshit. Whenever you see a guy like this speaking up out loud, oh my God, we got to figure out what we're going to do for the American people. It's all smoke and mirrors. He's chosen by the fucking Freemasons to be the controlled opposition, the voice of reason, the appearance of righteousness amongst a race of people who are all collectively moving in the same direction. This dude's probably an Amalekite. He's just, oh, I'm so concerned. No, he's not. This is just, they always do this. They're releasing some fucking massive death, some massive fucked up thing, vibration of the earth, and then there's always some dude, some lady in there, oh, this is so bad, we can't do this. And then you got people, oh, this guy's amazing, we need to get him in office. No, this is what's happening. It's over. The Most High is judging America. He's exposing the man of sin for what he is. It's the biblical Edomites. He's going to raise up 1/3 of the Hebrew Israelites and save them, destroy the other 2/3. He's going to burn America with thermonuclear fire, and Yahushua is coming back on a chariot what the white man calls a UFO. And no one is talking about that except for the Hebrew Israelites.
For the millions of Americans who are about to get smacked in the face. But that starts with a meeting. It has to start with a meeting.
They never mention biblical prophecy. It's always these human, man-made fucking elements that they think are going to save and stop everything when this is what's happening. Whew. Woo! Trusting in a man, trusting in an unfaithful man in time of need is like a broken tooth or a foot out of joint, and that's what it is. Trusting in whatever the so-called white man says or his systems, his Christianity, is like a broken tooth or a foot that is out of joint. I pray that this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakodash, and double honors to the elders and the apostles, the great millstone of whom we learn from, and a shalom to the hope of elect, taking this truth to the four corners of the earth, this who embedding the elect spirits of Yasharallah to the marriage supper of the Lamb, who is Yahweh Shai. This is your brother Radah. Shalom.